2008 Volkswagen Golf R32 MK5. Here it is, you angry boys. The king of the PA dubbers. This is what every Jetta driving, Gears iced tea chugging, brake checking, drinking Boilo in class with a black hoodie covered in powdered sugar from Tasty Cake mini donuts, basement goblin dreams of. But why?
It's going to sound amazing. One of the best, I would argue, the best sounding Volkswagen ever created.
Here we go. And... ooh.
She's torquey.
If the Golf R is look at me, I have money, the R32 is look at me, I have taste.
Yes.
This thing's probably gonna... No, it didn't... I guess it's heavy enough that it didn't spin on all that gravel.
She's actually...
sorry about the gravel.
No, it's all good. She has to be detailed anyway. And you can actually shift it. There's very small paddle shifters on the back of the steering wheel if you wanted to use them. And you can actually put it into a manual mode as well and use it to, you know, fake manual, push up, pull back, shift up, shift down type of thing.
It's hard to make a V6 sound good. The Honda J-Series sounds alright for a V6. The Buick 3.8 from the Grand National sounds fantastic, but it has a turbo singing lead. The R32's VR6 engine sounds good by any standard. Crisp, hard, buzzy, like a pony keg full of firecrackers thrown by the Iron Giant, who is also beating off.
Always planted, there's no like skipping out or anything.
I like how these little paddle flippers are literally you flipping off.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's your middle fingers down here. Yep. It's so angry. The proper place to put your hands here also means it's your middle fingers, so you're constantly ready. PA dubbers.
Yep.
The engine is livid at every moment, like a ninth grader who is realizing nature's indifference at the same time discovering Operation Ivy. And the R32 embodies adolescent fury. And for some people, nostalgic for youthful, scattershot passion, whatever price an R32 rises to is worth it. Golf R32. The most expensive you can buy and still look like a piece of shit. Volkswagen R32. The official car of bailing out your brother. Not asking for your money back, but bringing it up after his daughter got cremated. R32. You wear a Submariner, but steal windshield washer squeezies from the Amish grocery store. But you can drive a Mark5 R32 to a car meet, and you are a significant individual. Ooh, you have one. Granted, enthusiasts were not happy that the Mark5 was not available with a stick. But hold on. The auto gave... Hold on. Don't crucify the Mark5 for its transmission yet. The Mark5 R32 gave automotive enthusiasts a way to drive a fun car and save face at car meets. Nah, man, I just love the Mark5. Too bad it only came with a DSG in the United States, right? Yeah, right. Too bad my brother couldn't be here. He violated his parole. What he did wasn't that bad. I don't ask questions. Planted. That's what the Mark5 Golf feels like. The all-wheel drive helps. You'd think a hatch with a large front engine would understeer, but the R32 doesn't. The Haldex all-wheel drive system wasn't sophisticated even by 2008 standards, but it does its job. It defaults to front-wheel drive, but the second the front wheels start slipping, the rears kick in. Power delivery is linear. True linear. No drop-off.
Interesting, it's blipping on the way down.
Yes.
By itself.
Yep.
Now we're gonna go hills and back roads.
Yep.
I mean, there is a drop-off. It's at the top of the rev range, but at that point, the engine is making so much noise that you aren't going to notice. R32. The official car of carrying around an open-ended traffic cone for fart amplification. In the United Kingdom and Europe, the R32 was a luxury hatch for executives who wanted more power on the motorway. In the United States, this is a car for business majors named Trevor, whose parents pay for his tuition, but Trevor still deals cocaine at Penn State. Works! The rear exhaust tips are closer together than loads when E-stimmed. Volkswagen R32, for revving hard while sitting in the Wendy's drive-thru. For a car as mythologized as the R32, you think this would be on the sportier side of Golfs. But in the marketplace of ideas, anything and everything is a performance car. So what you get is an angry engine with a chip on its shoulder that sounds like Henry Rollins in 2002 and has the hated induced cardio of a freshly dumped high school sophomore. Self-loathing is a powerful motivator, and the R32 might as well have a "life sucks then you die" bumper sticker. There's this idea that the experience it offers must be worthy of its obscurity. Nothing will get you over the line faster than nostalgia for the recent past. Car communities fetishize rarity. It's the fashionable new kink. But what does this car really offer you beyond its unavailability? This is basically just a girl you've built up in your mind because she's never single. People simping for the R32 are like the people who complain that the Smiths aren't in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. But what's the argument, other than it's the Smiths? What is the case for the R32 to be put on a pedestal other than it's an R32? These things cost around $36,000 in 2008, which is a hair short of $50,000 in 2023. It exists in service to nothing other than itself. But in a general sense, it goes back to the RCR hierarchy of needs, specifically the last one. What do you need this car to do for you? In other words, what emotion must this car make you feel? Some people can be happy with a car they don't ever have to think about. Stability is its own form of happiness, right? But life already leaves a trail of deficits. Sometimes it's not enough to just say, well, this car may not add anything to my life, but it's also not making anything worse. Settling is the firing squad that lines happiness up to a wall. This runs on the 3.2-liter VR6, which makes 240 horsepower and 236 pound-feet of torque, but it's now making 250 horsepower and 265 pound-feet of torque with a tune. And an exhaust. It's got suspension too. Andrew gets about 25-26 miles per gallon combined. Growing up, Andrew always wanted one of these, and he tried to buy this when he was younger. But even though he had no accidents or other issues on his driving record, it would still have cost over $2,500 a month to insure him, which he was told was due to the rarity of the parts in this car. So he went with a WRX instead. By adulthood, he was able to find this Volkswagen from an enthusiast in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, who kept this garage kept. And it's been kept in great condition ever since Andrew got it. It's got around 127,000 miles on it, and it feels like it has a full life ahead of it. The transmission. The second-gen DSG twin clutch. It's an automatic that you treat like a manual, but no clutch pedal, not a manual. Now, the Mark IV Golf was the first to have the twin clutch DSG, which was only available in Europe. It wasn't until this model, the Mark V, that we were offered the twin clutch DSG stateside. Because even when we finally get something, it's sort of an afterthought. Upon release in the United States, only 5,000 were imported. And there it is. There it is. This thing is rare, so it just reinforces the idea that you'll make my money back on my R32 on Cars and Bids. I mean, just to be fair, checking the listing shows that someone got over $27,000 for one of these things. But that was in California with a manual transmission, so then it wouldn't have been a Mark V. It would have been a Mark IV. So it seems to be the exception rather than the rule. Although others have gotten into the mid-teens, so who knows? I guess what I'm trying to say is that I don't think this car earns its status above any number of comparable hot hatches you could get, unless you're just really into the dichotomy between such a plain-looking car and an engine with the same bitter energy as someone who complains about a relationship they'll never leave. Volkswagen R32. Powered by the uninspired rhetoric of empty threats. Volkswagen R32. The official car of someone who believed in God until they were put through character development. Volkswagen R32. For kids raised by people who shush. Volkswagen R32. For the man who ignores winter weather warnings and hits the interstate on bald tires, racing to a holiday dinner where performative misery is the night's entertainment. Volkswagen R32. The official car of waiting for mom to die so you can finally tell dad to shove it. You're backing into a car meet with your plastic R32 badge polished with wax so everybody knows you have one of 5,000 USDM R32s. You have an R32. And your dick isn't tiny. Dick isn't tiny. Dick. Tiny. Dick isn't tiny. Dick isn't. Tiny dick. Tiny dick. R32. Tiny dick. Dick tiny R. Tiny dick isn't R32. Dick R. Tiny isn't dick. Dick isn't. Dick isn't R.